It's good to see everybody. Hold on one second. My guest is his camera's disabled. It'll come back on here in a sec. There we go. All right, ladies. All right. So today's guest, I looked him up. He's definitely a combat sports guy himself, and it's been a pleasure just like looking him up and stuff like that. You know, he's kind of younger, but he's got a little bit out there, and I'm just, you know, it's a pleasure to talk to him. His outfit alone, you know, in his profile picture made me want to interview him. I was like the traditional like Muay Thai style it looked like. We'll get into all that. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest this time is Yerro Gassama. Is that how you pronounce it?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Gassama, you
all right, cool. Yeah. I'm not very good at pronouncing names. I'm very good at memorizing them, just not pronouncing them sometimes. Man, so you got a fight coming up. When is it?
That's right. Yeah, July 5th in Toronto. It's the Bushido title fight.
Okay, cool. And is there any way that somebody like me can watch it?
Yeah, it's going to be obviously live. You can come down and watch it. And it'll be streaming on Millions, I believe. Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
So Millions.
good. Glad to hear that. As somebody who works with Millions, that's a good thing. So, all right. So you are a mixed martial artist now, right?
Yeah.
Did you start out in Muay Thai? Because that's a Muay Thai outfit you had on in your profile picture, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I'm still doing Muay Thai. Yeah, I've been in and out of martial arts my whole life, pretty much. Started with
Okay.
karate as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then kickboxing, and then Muay Thai.
Right. Okay. And how old are you now?
I'm 32.
Okay, so relatively young. So that'll, you know, relatively young, and you know, thing about it is that it makes sense for you to have like the traditional Muay Thai outfit coming out to the ring and stuff like that. You just don't see that too often.
Mm.
Have you ever been in Thailand before?
Not yet. I'm affiliated with Toronto Kickboxing and Muay Thai Academy, so we plan yearly trips to Thailand. So that's definitely on the cards. That's my next big mission. Yeah. So not yet.
Yeah. I've interviewed several Thai fighters who have been to Thailand, and they just say it's a whole different world down there.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world. You know, they don't have to work as hard as a physical job, especially those that are coming from America. They save up enough. And Canada, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but they'll save like a tremendous amount and train for like 3 months straight or something like that and come home and be like the best versions of themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, I know a couple guys who've done that, and some of the guys from my gym just went last year. So yeah, definitely the way to do it.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing mixed martial arts?
I started with karate when I was about 10, and then kickboxing for about 2 years. So a little under 10 years total. To
Okay,
put it all
cool.
together. Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase that. How long
Yeah.
have you been fighting competitively for mixed martial arts?
It's going to be 4 years.
Are you still an amateur?
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, you know, do you want to go pro?
Yeah. I mean, pushing as far as I can. So looking for those opportunities.
What prevents a fighter from becoming pro? That's at these days. I don't understand it. Is it because your coach
Yeah.
doesn't feel like you're ready, or you don't feel like you're ready?
It has to do also with the sport. So with the sport of Muay Thai in Ontario, prize fighting as of right now, it's not legal. So that means you have to pretty much go out of province or out of state to get those opportunities, unless you transition into a different sport. And then the other thing is time. So if you're working a full time job, like I do about 6-7 days a week sometimes, so I'd probably have to cut down on that. So this amateur journey was to see kind of how ready I am. So I gave myself a couple years to really get the and see if we can transition. So there's different factors. Depends
Sure.
on the fighter situation and their coach. Sometimes it's a case of not being ready. I definitely wanted to have a lot of experience before stepping into a pro scenario for sure. I had a fight recently
Right.
in Mexico that had a little bit more of a professional vibe, and I love that. So that's definitely definitely a goal.
Yeah, you said that Thai fighting is illegal as far as prize fighting, but you didn't mention mixed martial arts. Is it the same thing up there?
No, with mixed martial arts, you can go pro. Yeah, we even have a couple of UFC fight nights that happen here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Canada, much less, but I've seen the few times that the UFC has been to Canada. I've never, so I mean, they haven't done it too often. Well, you said twice, right?
Yeah, I can only like. There's been a couple of the Contender Series events, but yeah, UFC big events. I can only think of two.
Okay, yeah, I haven't. I don't know much about the fight scene in Canada. I know that obviously George
Mm.
St. Pierre is like the legend up there, and I remember, of
Yeah,
course, I'm a little older than you are, and I remember like guys like David Loiseau and a few other guys back like 20 years ago. Those were like the big Canadian fighters. There was actually this big thing, pay-per-view, UFC 58, which was Canada versus United States pay-per-view. And St. Pierre was on it, David Loiseau. Oh, gosh, who else was on it? There was quite a few other fighters that were on it from Canada and the United States going against each other. So, but the problem is now is that Canada doesn't seem to have its guy right now, though. Not yet.
yeah. I'd say not yet. I got a couple guys coming out of House of Champions and over in Hamilton under Cruel Lin, up in the UFC. So yeah, I think we're not yet. Is the word.
I know it. Did you watch the fights last night?
No, I was moving last night.
Oh, okay, just curious.
Yeah.
I do these streaming watch parties and things like that, and I just have a hard time. I have a hard time keeping up with all these fighters now because they seem to do they had one last night, they had a pay per view last week, and then they have another fight night next Saturday, and I have a hard time keeping up with all these fighters. But I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, who's the next guy? I mean, and the champions aren't fighting as often as they used to.
Right. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I At this point, I'm pretty much just focusing on my craft and getting in the gym as often as possible, and then whenever I can, yeah, I'll catch like a fight night or watch a lot of Muay Thai fights directly as well on the
Mhm.
One Championship. But yeah, right now it's pretty much work, gym.
Oh man, any wife, lady, kids?
No, no kids, no wife, got a girlfriend. It keeps me busy enough. So at this point, that's pretty much all I can do commitment wise.
Hey, that is totally fine, sir. I'm telling you. I mean, you'll be fine. No. So what do you? So what are like? What is the difficultest part for you? Because as far as like most of the time, the answer is weight cut. But how what's your weight class?
Uh, it's 133 pounds, so 60 kg, right now. So I don't find it to be really as much of a problem for me. I think been kind of managing my weight in some way or another since I was young, like a lot of fasting and different weight cuts. So I don't find that part to be particularly difficult. Managing my time, that's probably harder for me, being a full time full time employee. Working on site as well. So definitely, I'd say
Mm.
time and energy would probably be the hardest ones for me at this point. Yeah,
Okay,
because when I
okay,
was
I
just starting, I
understand.
was a student, so it was time was more available than now. So yeah.
Yeah. What do you? So, gosh, I lost my train of thought there. But I can't imagine. Like being a high impact athlete while having working. You said 6-7 days a week, man. That's insane. I mean, how many days a week do you train?
About six.
Yeah, and and here's the funny thing though, is I remember when Rich Franklin
Mm.
was knocked out by Anderson Silva, his coach made him take 2 days a week off. So I'm like, you guys take it to the max until somebody says, look, you've had this happen to you, now you got to do this.
True.
Yeah. And what's your height?
I'm 5'8".
Okay, yeah. Okay, I can see that. Then 5'8", 130 pounds, 30 plus pounds. That's not
Right.
bad.
Yeah.
It's not a bad, but weight cut's insane though. I
Yeah.
always emphasize about that because
Mm.
I did an event here locally, a couple Saturdays ago, and or 3 Saturdays ago now, should I say? And these guys, man, they looked dehydrated when they were on that scale weighing in, and I was like, oh, you can have that.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. I mean, for us as well with Muay Thai, especially a lot of it at amateur level is same day weigh-in. So you have to be really careful with
Mm-hmm.
how much you're going to deplete yourself because you don't have that much time to, rehydrate properly and introduce
Mm-hmm.
nutrition. So you got to be, yeah, that's yeah. On the health side, you got to be careful.
Mm-hmm. That'll work. No, I mean, so what do you? So I'm assuming you don't have very many hobbies then, outside of your fighting and work. Then maybe.
Yeah, I used to do quite a few things. Actually, I started off in soccer, so that's still I'd say my number one passion outside of this.
Oh,
I
okay.
still at this point I'm not really playing, so watching and following more so. But that was definitely my biggest passion. Still love traveling and to try to get as much of that in as possible. Go around, see things, and learning. I love learning, whether it's to do with mixed martial arts or just outside of that, anything I can do to keep my education, if you will, continuing. So at this
Mm-hmm.
point, that's pretty much it. Hang out with friends whenever I get the chance or off season, off camp.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. When was your last fight before this one?
I just fought in Mexico last month. So that would have been just 2 weeks ago now.
Do they fly you out, or do you have to pay for the ticket?
It's like a semi-covered, so some out of pocket and then some help as well. So not 100%.
I'm just curious because I know
Yeah.
fighter. I know it's fighter. Obviously you have a passport. You're in Canada, and
Hmm.
and Mexico is 2 countries away from you and stuff like that. And it's just
Right.
I'm glad that somebody decided to that recognize you to come out of town. But
Right.
as long as they cover something,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah. Especially at amateur, you're not going to get that much in terms of covers
first.
and yeah, your purse exactly. But the experience was insane. So I love that. Yeah, and like I said, I love traveling. So I got to do both traveling and fighting. So that was awesome for me.
Man, I would love to. I'm just media, but I would love to be able to fly around and do things with the media to cover these guys like yourself and others that are able to have me there and work cover for my streaming and my my company millions who I work
Right.
for. So
Right.
man, so
That's the future, I'd say.
yeah, no, it is. I mean, the problem is that where does the money come from now? That's where you have
Yeah.
to ask yourself. You said
Yeah.
one of the things about combat sports is that I remember like everybody in there, like it still sells out just about everywhere you go now, as far
Yeah.
as MMA goes. But the
Mhm.
problem is that I can't find 3 people that I'm friends with that know how to watch or that watch it or anything like that. So it's, I'm like, how does it manage to have this popularity and stuff like that? But yet I don't know 3 people around me that watch it. Or they said I used to get every pay per view. Now I just,
Right. It's an interesting point. Yeah, yeah. It's like very niche, but also very popular. So you get tons of people watching it, but they're like in these small pockets throughout the whole world at this point.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love it. I really do. I mean, combat sports. I'm a huge American basketball and football fan. Of course, you guys got the Raptors, so
Yeah,
basketball's not completely American.
that's right.
But I love American basketball, football, and baseball. But at the same time, man, I always feel like combat sports was like my sport. Like when people would look up to me when I talked about it. You talk to other sports and stuff like that, and people kind of argue with each other more. And I like a sport where some people look up to me and be like, "Oh man, he knows this shit" when it comes to combat sports.
Yeah. So you've been following and into combat sports for a while now, or?
I have been doing radio. I was doing radio for over 2 decades, and then, but along the way, I covered and commentated combat sports, and I followed MMA since 1999. Shamrock versus Tito Ortiz was my first one I ever
Oh,
watched.
yeah.
But as far as covering it, as far as like commentating it, all kinds of things, I've been around it for a long time, and I don't know, I love it. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. The fight could be the worst fight in the world. Like last night, they had about maybe 2 fights that weren't that good, right? But for some reason, I still had a great time at watching the event last night. I don't get it.
Mm. Yeah, it's the passion, man. Once it's one of those disciplines, one of those arts. Once you're in it, it's like one of my coaches says. This is the only sport that you don't really play at, right? So there's always an element of reality to it. I think that kind of keeps you hooked.
Yeah, I like what Ving Rhames said the same thing your coach just said about you don't play fighting. You play baseball, you play basketball, you play football, but you don't play fighting.
Right.
I love it. That's the best way to go. Man, I'm not gonna hold you up. I'm not gonna hold you up too much. I just we want to get your fight out there, promote it. Millions.co. We'll definitely promote you and get your fight out there and get this event out there because
Yes,
that's
sir.
great.
Yes,
Oh man,
sir. Yeah.
so all right. So give me details about where the fight is, what your fight is, and all that stuff, and then we'll close it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a promotion. It's called Bushido Fight Night. It's going to be here in local in Toronto. That's in Ontario, July 5th. It's going to be a title fight against another exciting prospect. So I've been looking forward to this for a while now, and this is kind of towards the peak of the season. So it's going to be a high octane fight. Lots of energy. It's going to be a war. So for people who are looking for a good show, this is definitely going to be one to look out for in the Ontario fight scene. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Shout out to Boss Thai Boxing for putting it together. So I'm going to be representing TKMT, that's Toronto Kickboxing and Muay Thai Academy, out here in Toronto. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be an amazing fight. Catch it on
Hey,
Millions for sure.
oh, that's awesome, man. Thank you for joining me today, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, if you ever want to do this again, let me know, man.
For sure, man. I enjoyed talking to you. I think we could it's been already 20 minutes, but it felt like we just started talking. So I got it's nice to speak to somebody with so much history and knowledge. Thank you for taking the time, obviously, to talk to me. Appreciate this conversation. So yeah, I think we can definitely do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depending on your time, but I'd love to.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
No, you just you do it in the schedule and stuff like that. I'd love to do this, man. It's
yeah,
I do so many of these, and I get about.
right.
I'm so fortunate that like 9 out of 10 are good ones, and so that's what I love about it. So
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, I've been looking at your stuff, so it's very exciting. It's cool to hang out with guys like you. Thanks for putting me on. You can maybe do a post fight little catch up, tell you how it went, how it felt,
yeah,
for sure.
please do. Yeah, if you want to do that,
Okay.
just schedule yourself and I got you. Okay.
All right. Amazing. Appreciate you, Hank. Thanks so much for
Uh,
your time.
all right, you too, man. All right,
Cheers.
you've been the Hank Russell invitation. Y'all have a good day.
Okay.